Earth's tilt and orbit, the reason for the seasons. Have you ever wondered why we have seasons? It's a question that has intrigued humans for centuries, leading to various myths and scientific inquiries. Why do we experience the warmth of summer and the chill of winter? What causes the leaves to change color in autumn and flowers to bloom in spring? The answer lies in a fascinating cosmic dance between our planet and the sun. This dance is a complex interplay of movements and positions that create the seasonal changes we observe. You see, Earth doesn't stand straight up and down as it travels around the sun. Instead, it has a unique tilt that plays a crucial role in the changing seasons. This tilt is approximately 23.5 degrees from the vertical. Imagine a spinning top that leans slightly to one side as it spins. This tilt is what makes all the difference. It affects how sunlight hits different parts of the Earth at different times of the year. As Earth orbits the sun, different parts of the planet receive varying amounts of sunlight throughout the year. This variation in sunlight is what drives the seasonal changes. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, it experiences summer with longer days and more direct sunlight. Meanwhile, the southern hemisphere, tilted away from the sun, experiences winter with shorter days and less direct sunlight. 6 months later, the situation reverses. The southern hemisphere tilts towards the sun, enjoying its summer, while the northern hemisphere faces winter. This tilt is responsible for the changing seasons and the variations in daylight hours we experience throughout the year. It's a continuous cycle that repeats annually, creating the rhythm of the seasons. It's important to remember that Earth's orbit around the sun is not a perfect circle, but rather an ellipse. This elliptical orbit means that the distance between Earth and the sun changes slightly over the course of a year. This means that Earth is slightly closer to the sun at some points in its orbit than others. However, this variation in distance is not the primary cause of the seasons. The Earth's tilt plays a much more significant role in causing the seasons than its distance from the sun. The tilt determines the angle and intensity of sunlight that different parts of the Earth receive, which in turn affects the temperature and weather patterns. Throughout history, various cultures have tried to understand and explain the reasons for the seasons. Ancient civilizations observed the changing patterns in the sky and developed calendars and rituals based on these observations. Today, we have a scientific understanding of the seasons thanks to advancements in astronomy and earth sciences. We know that the tilt of Earth's axis and its orbit around the sun are the key factors driving the seasonal changes. The changing seasons have a profound impact on life on Earth. Plants and animals have adapted to the seasonal cycles, with many species timing their growth, reproduction, and migration to the rhythms of the seasons. Human activities are also influenced by the seasons. Agriculture, for example, relies heavily on seasonal patterns, with planting and harvesting timed to take advantage of the optimal growing conditions. Many cultures celebrate the changing seasons with festivals and traditions. These celebrations often mark important agricultural milestones or astronomical events such as solstices and equinoxes. In recent years, climate change has begun to affect the traditional patterns of the seasons. Changes in temperature and weather patterns are impacting ecosystems and human activities, leading to shifts in the timing and intensity of seasonal events. Understanding the reasons for the seasons is not just a matter of scientific curiosity. It has practical implications for agriculture, environmental management, and our ability to adapt to a changing climate. So, the next time you experience the warmth of summer or the chill of winter, remember the fascinating cosmic dance between Earth and the sun. It's a dance choreographed by the tilt of our planet's axis and its elliptical orbit around the sun. This dance creates the beautiful and ever-changing tapestry of the seasons, a reminder of the intricate and interconnected nature of our world. Twice a year, Earth reaches a point in its orbit where the tilt of its axis is at its most extreme angle relative to the sun. This phenomenon is a result of the Earth's axial tilt of approximately 23.5 degrees, which remains constant as the Earth orbits the sun. The solstices are a direct consequence of this tilt, causing the sun to appear at its highest or lowest point in the sky at noon, depending on the time of year and the observer's location on Earth. These points are called solstices, and they mark the longest and shortest days of the year, depending on which hemisphere you're in. The word solstice is derived from the Latin words sol, sun, and sister, to stand still. because the sun's apparent movement north or south comes to a stop before reversing direction. This astronomical event has been observed and celebrated by various cultures throughout history, often symbolizing renewal, rebirth, and the cyclical nature of life. The summer solstice occurs in June in the northern hemisphere and December in the southern hemisphere. During the summer solstice, the North Pole is tilted closest to the sun, resulting in the longest day and shortest night of the year for those living in the northern hemisphere. Conversely, the South Pole is tilted away from the sun, leading to the shortest day and longest night in the southern hemisphere. This day is often associated with warmth, growth, and abundance, as it marks the peak of the growing season in many regions. On this day, the sun reaches its highest point in the sky and the day is the longest of the year. The exact duration of daylight varies depending on the latitude, with regions closer to the poles experiencing more extreme differences in day length. For example, in areas within the Arctic Circle, the sun may not set at all, resulting in the phenomenon known as the midnight sun. This extended daylight has a profound impact on the environment, influencing plant growth, animal behavior, and human activities. In contrast, the winter solstice occurs in December in the northern hemisphere and June in the southern hemisphere. During the winter solstice, the North Pole is tilted furthest away from the sun, resulting in the shortest day and longest night of the year for those in the northern hemisphere. Meanwhile, the South Pole is tilted towards the sun, leading to the longest day and shortest night in the southern hemisphere. This day is often associated with introspection, rest, and the anticipation of the return of longer days and warmer weather. On this day, the sun reaches its lowest point in the sky and the day is the shortest of the year. The reduced daylight and lower sun angle can lead to colder temperatures and a more subdued natural environment. In many cultures, the winter solstice is a time for reflection, celebration, and the hope for the return of light and warmth. Festivals, rituals, and traditions often focus on themes of light overcoming darkness and the promise of new beginnings. The solstices have been celebrated by cultures around the world for millennia. From the ancient Egyptians, who built temples aligned with the solstices, to the Druids of Stonehenge, who gathered to mark these significant days, the solstices have held deep spiritual and cultural significance. In modern times, people continue to celebrate with festivals, gatherings, and personal rituals, honoring the enduring connection between humanity and the natural world. They mark important turning points in the year, times when the amount of daylight begins to shift in the opposite direction. The summer solstice heralds the gradual shortening of days, while the winter solstice marks the slow return of longer daylight hours. These transitions are a reminder of the Earth's dynamic nature and our place within its cycles. Observing the solstices can foster a deeper appreciation for the rhythms of the natural world and our interconnectedness with the environment. The summer solstice, occurring around June 20th or 21st in the northern hemisphere, is the longest day of the year. This day marks a significant astronomical event when the tilt of Earth's axis is most inclined towards the sun, resulting in the longest period of daylight. The word solstice comes from the Latin words sol, sun, and sistere, to stand still, referring to the fact that the sun appears to pause at its highest point in the sky before beginning its journey southward again. This phenomenon has fascinated humans for millennia, inspiring countless myths, legends, and cultural practices. On this day, the North Pole is tilted closest to the sun, resulting in the maximum amount of daylight hours for the northern hemisphere. This tilt is responsible for the varying lengths of days and nights throughout the year, and the summer solstice is the pinnacle of this cycle. The further north you go, the longer the day becomes. In regions close to the Arctic Circle, the sun barely dips below the horizon, creating a phenomenon known as the midnight sun. In fact, above the Arctic Circle, the sun doesn't set at all on the summer solstice. This continuous daylight can last for several weeks, providing a unique experience for those living in or visiting these northern regions. The summer solstice has been celebrated since ancient times as a time of joy, abundance, and the triumph of light over darkness. Ancient civilizations, such as the Druids at Stonehenge, would gather to mark this special occasion with rituals and ceremonies. Many cultures hold festivals and rituals to honor the sun and celebrate the bounty of the earth. In Sweden, midsummer is celebrated with maypole dancing, feasting, and singing. In China, the Duanwu Festival, also known as the Dragon Boat Festival, coincides with the summer solstice and includes boat races and the eating of special foods like zongzi. In modern times, the summer solstice continues to be a time of celebration and reflection. People gather for various events such as yoga sessions at sunrise, music festivals and community gatherings to connect with nature and each other. Traditions vary widely, but common themes include the lighting of bonfires to symbolize the sun's energy, the crafting of flower crowns to honor nature's beauty, and performing sun salutations to greet the longest day. As the day draws to a close, the sun's descent marks the beginning of its journey southward, a reminder of the cyclical nature of our world. The summer solstice is not just an astronomical event, but a celebration of life, light, and the enduring connection between humanity and the cosmos. Many take this time to reflect on personal growth, set intentions for the coming months, and appreciate the warmth and light that the sun provides. The solstice serves as a powerful reminder of the balance between light and dark and the ever-changing rhythms of our planet. As the sun rises again, it brings with it the promise of new beginnings and the continuation of life's eternal cycle. The summer solstice is a moment to pause, celebrate, and look forward to the future with hope and gratitude. The winter solstice, occurring around December 21st or 22nd in the northern hemisphere, marks the shortest day and longest night of the year. On this day, the North Pole is tilted furthest away from the sun, resulting in the minimum amount of daylight hours for the northern hemisphere. While the winter solstice might seem like a time of darkness and cold, many cultures view it as a time of hope and renewal. After all, from this point onward, the days begin to get longer and the promise of spring is on the horizon. The winter solstice has been celebrated with festivals and rituals that symbolize the return of light and the promise of new beginnings. From lighting candles to burning bonfires, people around the world have found ways to embrace the darkness while looking forward to the return of the sun.